guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I am doing the top 10 most anticipated comics of the month, so let's jump in. Number 10 for me is Marvel Knights: The World to Come issue 1. This is Joe Quesada returning to Marvel after a bit of a sabbatical doing indie comics and returning to probably one of his biggest projects at Marvel, being Marvel Knights, and allowing for a grittier world in Marvel. You know, we have the Red Band comics now, but Marvel Knights is what paved the way to have comics like that. So I'm curious to see what that looks like in a 2025 landscape. So that's number 10 for me. Moving on to number 9, which is Spidergirl issue 1. I am a huge Spidergirl fan. Now, am I a huge Spider-Boy fan and this relation of Spidergirl? You know, no, I did drop the book. I read a few issues here and there. I read the premiere of this version of Spidergirl, but I'm really curious to see another writer have a take at this character and what this character is all about as someone who's a fan of previous iterations of Spider-Girl. So that's number 9 for me. Moving on to number 8, which is Absolute Batman issue 9. It's the big issue with Absolute Bane. It feels like the team has really been pumping this one out and saying like this is gonna be a huge issue, and I want to see what their version of Bane's gonna be, how they're gonna make it a bit topsy-turvy, and how this is going to relate to their Absolute universe. So that's number 8. Moving on to number 7, which is Toxie Team-Up issue 1. This is a book I didn't even know existed, but I'm glad I do. I am a huge fan of Second Coming, and it's been a while since we've had an issue of the series, so it's Jesus teaming up with the Toxic Avengers. Don't know much about the Toxic Avengers, so I'm actually excited to maybe learn about a franchise as I get a daily dose of Second Coming, one of my favorite comics of all time. Moving on to number 6, which is Action Comics issue 1087. This is a new era for Action Comics where you have Mark Waid going on to the book, telling a story from the past and maybe tying into the present, with Skylar Patridge, one of my favorite artists and actually an artist we've worked with a lot at Lifeline Comics, doing the interior art for such a premiere book like Action Comics, so very excited for this one. Moving on to number 5, I'm doing a double dose here, is DC Pride and Marvel Pride. I thought, why not do a spotlight on both? As a queer creator, I love seeing Marvel and DC every year promote queer comics and their queer characters, and I just love seeing this being an annual thing. So that is number 5 for me. Moving on to number 4 is Jeff the Landshark issue 1. You know, Jeff has been collecting his stories in one shot, so it's really cool to see a little bit more of a longer running series for him. I believe this is a mini series, so I wanted to see what a long form Jeff the Landshark book looks like. And I don't know if this was one of the part of the Infinity Comics or if this is like original to the print media, but very excited to see more Jeff. Moving on to number 3, which is Emma Frost, the White Queen issue 1. Big Emma fan, would love to see a spotlight on Emma, and I've been enjoying her in Exceptional X-Men, so I want to see if it's tying into that or if it's its own separate adventure. So that's number 3 for me. Moving on to number 2, which is Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion issue 1. Miles Morales is back in the middle of the Marvel universe and back in the Ultimate universe. So what does that mean? When the Ultimate universe looks really different. It's a very different version of where he comes from. So how are they tying this all together? And is this going to be a big earth-shattering event for both the Ultimate Universe and 616? Very, very curious about this one because it's an event that actually feels like it's been building up in the background. And then my number 1, I think if you guys have followed this channel for a long time, you're gonna know what my number 1 is, and as Runaways. Rainbow Rowell is returning to Runaways, which is legit one of my favorite comic runs ever. I think it is so hard to follow up on such a cult favorite run like Brian K. Vaughan's Runaways, and Rainbow did it with, in no pun intended, flying colors, and now having her return a couple years later to see where these characters are at with a mini series. I am so stoked for this. It is gonna make me so excited to go to the comic book store, and I love comics that literally you go to sleep the night before, you're like, I can't wait to go to the comic store to pick up this certain book, and Runaways is that for me. So that's my most anticipated book. Let me know in the comments below what are books you're looking forward to the most this month. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno, and I'll see you guys in the next one.